All right, welcome to the very first episode of 5280 Basketball Insider. I'm very lucky today to be joined by Santi Rico and Michale Squires. These two gentlemen are the newest additions to the RMSR team, and it's an honor to start this podcast. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourselves?
All right, if I may. Alex, I appreciate you introducing me, but you have to do it right. My name is Santi Rico, and it's my pleasure to be doing this. A little bit about me. I am mostly a wrestling reporter and wrestling announcer, interviewer, and such. But my main goal is to branch out into more traditional sports. And I see my membership of this group as an opportunity to sort of flex my muscles, stretch my legs, and see how I do in the world of traditional sports. Hopefully I can bring a little more personality and intrigue into the thing. But it's a joy to be here. I love podcasts. I love this kind of format. So I feel really in my element.
Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, and I can't wait to make many more shows with you, man.
Thanks, brother.
So now, go ahead, Michale. It's all you, man.
All right. As aforementioned, my name is Michale Squires. I am a Colorado native, so I love everything Colorado sports. So the opportunity to represent the Denver Nuggets in any way, shape, or form was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So I'm grateful for the opportunity, and so far it's been an excellent experience.
Fantastic. Well, like I said to Santi, we're glad to have you, and this is going to be a great team. I can already tell with the time that we spent here early this morning. It's been a great one, so I'm happy to be here with you guys. So, let's just jump right in. First thing that we're going to talk about is obviously the Denver Nuggets. Been a little bit of a disappointment in my eyes. I'm sure that you guys kind of feel the same way. We're now sitting at one game above 500 with the win in Phoenix in overtime last night, and it's positive, but at the same time we've got a lot to work on. And what I want to ask you first, Santi, is what do you think that the number one key to getting this team on the right track is?
So I think there's two keys. If I was to say the number one key, I think the most important thing that we need to shore up is our defense, because the two-way ball needs to be a lot better. We need to, keep the other team to a low field goal percentage. But the thing that I wanted to focus on mostly was our three-point shooting. I mean, it's abysmal lately. It is abysmal with Jamal Murray. I mean, he hasn't made a three-pointer in like 3 or 4 games. It's ridiculous. It feels like every time Joker finds that pass to an open three-point shooter, you have to say a prayer and hope that thing's going to fall down. And right. It's really painful to watch as a lifelong fan of the Nuggets to know that each one of these games that we've lost this year was completely within our grasp. It was just a matter of our finishing and our ability to keep the other team from finishing at the other court or on the other end of the court. So those are my 2 key points. And yeah.
Okay.
So if I just piggyback off of what he had to say, just more in depth on the defensive side, our perimeter defense, our 3-point percentage is atrocious. Miles Bridges hit 6 straight threes last night, and it was grinding my gears. I just missed Torrey Craig. I missed Jeremy Grant. I missed the perimeter defense specifically. I mean, we never really had the greatest paint defense because Joker, he's not the most athletic, let's admit. But, we at least could defend the perimeter. And the 3-point percentage that we give up on a nightly basis, it needs to improve. There's no way we're going to win games when teams are shooting lights out. We almost lost that game last night, and we outscored Phoenix in the paint by a considerable margin. Normally when you do that, you're dominating a game, but we were barely in it because of the 3 points we were allowing, keeping them in the game, keeping momentum on their side, keeping their confidence up. So if we can defend that 3-point line a lot better, we'll definitely see us winning a lot more games.
All right. So in both your answers, you're basically telling me that defenses are, you both have the same kind of defensive mindset, that's our problem and that's where we're going to fix this team. And that's fine. I agree with you. But do you think, in that aspect, is the defense a problem because of personnel? Do you think it's a problem because of coaching? Do you think it's something that, maybe people aren't buying in? Maybe they aren't doing what they need to because they don't think the philosophy is the right one. Just let me know what you think. We'll start with you, Michael.
So from this aspect, I think it's a combination platter, a little column A, a little column B. I think that the coaching scheme is there, but we might not necessarily have the athleticism behind it to defend it that way. So, for instance, high pick and roll situations, when you put Joker in space like that, he can't really cover much. So when he tries to hedge and get back, we're already at a disadvantage and we're scrambling to rotate. So it's like, I really feel like it's a combination. So we really don't have the personnel to be as great of a defensive team for the scheme that Coach Malone is running.
Nice.
All right.
What about you, Santi?
Yeah, I'm in agreement for the most part with Michael. Our rotations are slow. It seems like a lot of the time they get lost on the defensive end, and it leads to a breakdown and another three-pointer scored. I think the biggest issue is probably team morale and the sort of cult of personality that a coach runs. Mike Malone is not exactly the strongest coach. I mean, no harm to him or anything, but I think to be effective and to get your players into, your full scheme, buying into the whole thing, I mean, you got to have that whole cult around you, like Steve Kerr, like Greg Popovich, all the great coaches of the time. Their players didn't just listen to them. They believed in the plan and they thought that it was going to get them to that championship. So it's mostly, in my approximation, a mentality issue. And Michael made a good point with the athleticism. We lost two great athletes in the offseason. We lost Jeremy Grant and Torrey Craig, who were excellent perimeter defenders. And now we're working with mid-range perimeter defenders, and what I would say is very poor post defense. So once they get that lane, it's basically a free layup, or if they're open on the 3-point, I mean, it's just, athleticism and, understanding the defensive scheme and actually believing in that defensive scheme rather than just reactively defending.
Now, I will say this, though. The roster turnover from this year to last year was quite significant. We did have a lot of new faces coming in, a lot of young players, and players that we haven't necessarily even seen too much of. I mean, we've got Bol that hasn't even – I don't think he's broken the 20-minute mark yet this season, which is fine. I understand he's a young guy. I mean, he's probably most likely going to be a future player on this Nuggets organization. But at the same time, we kind of need to see some improvement. Obviously we're at 8-7. We're not set where we were last year or for the last 4 years before this. Really, since Mike Malone has come in, he has done nothing but improve this team. And this year it kind of seems like we're descending. And for that to be, or for Nuggets fans out there, I guess that would be kind of a disappointment. But for me, at least in my head, I'm saying be patient. I bet by the end of this year, we might not be sitting at the 2 or 3 seed that we're used to here in Denver. But at the same time, I almost promise that we'll be part of the playoff picture, So I would just really like to see what you guys have mentioned so far, the defensive effort, the defensive intensity has to be there, first of all. And if you're not playing with intensity or meaning, it's hard to get going like that. So that's really a big thing for me. So let's talk about a little bit something on the other side of the ball, and that's Jamal Murray. He's a great player. We've all seen him have his, awesome games. Everybody remembers the series last year against Donovan Mitchell where they went toe-to-toe and they played great basketball together, Right. But we haven't seen that from Jamal this year. And I want to ask you guys why. Why do you think that it's different this year?
I think possibly that lingering elbow injury could be in effect. And one key point to that is his drop in free throw percentage. I've seen him miss 2 free throws in a row, at least 2 games this season, and I've never seen that before. His free throw percentage is down 79% from a career 90% shooter. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's dealing with the elbow injury and it's affecting his shooting. And I think once that clears up, it's really going to solve a lot of the problems that he's having. But I can tell that it's bothering him. Even before he comes on the court, you can see him messing with it, trying to get it loose. Even at the free throw line, you see him not more than just practice shots. You could tell he's trying to loosen that elbow up. So I think it's a lingering injury effect that's really having the most effect, combined with the fact that he's already a notorious slow starter in the season, in games, just in general, he's a slow starter. So with the injury combined with his personality of being a slow starter, it just kind of where he's at right now.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with Michael here. It's an issue that's really bugging him, because I know Jamal is capable of putting up 20 a night if he's in full health, but he's hitting every point I want to make. I mean, the free throw, I saw him exactly 2 in a row, twice this season. It's hard to watch when you know that he's like a career 90% shooter. Like, you should barely ever be missing 2 back-to-back. And his 3-point percentage is dipped off. He tried 5 3-points last night, didn't make a single one. Basically, his jumper is completely gone. Anything that he attempts from outside of the paint, anything beyond a layup or a dunk, he is basically incapable of making, and it all comes down. I mean, we've seen him make the shots a million times before. It all comes down to the inconsistency in his arm and not being able to feel that release correct, or, get everything functioning right. So it's painful to watch Jamal not be able to get himself going, because he wants to keep going, but physically he shouldn't be,
Right. And it's a double-edged sword, because you want him in the game, but you also need him to rest to get that elbow better.
Exactly. But I would propose that he's, in a lot of ways a detriment to the team performing like this, because if you're going to shoot 20%, 30% from the field, you're not contributing to the win. And he's not by any means a lockdown defender. So by having him on the court for 25, 30 minutes a game, we're really limiting our potential, when Monte Morris is like, they call him the best backup point in the league. I mean, he might have to be one of the best starters in the league if Jamal doesn't really shore up and heal that arm. I mean, we might have to look into different options. And I think we actually do have to look into different options, like right now.
And that kind of leads me into another question. If Monte Morris is playing the way that he's playing, and like you said, it's been pretty terrific. So especially because that's not what we expect from Monte. But with him playing the way he's playing and Jamal playing the way he's playing, why are we not starting Monte Morris and giving him the majority of the minutes? Let Jamal heal up, and then when he comes back, he'll be ready to go. And I know you need a rotation player, but we've got plenty of guards on this roster to where Jamal Murray shouldn't even be playing on nights that he's hurt. If he's not feeling it, he shouldn't be playing, because that's putting risk in that. I mean, there's already a risk playing Jamal Murray,
right?
But when he's hurt, there's an even higher risk of him getting hurt even further. So it's just a questionable coaching decision. And
well, I don't even know if it's fully on Malone. I mean, it's really clear that Jamal wants to play, and he'll never admit how injured he is. And, he wants to play every minute of every game. It's just, when your performance and your efficiency rating is going down, you have to weigh what you want personally versus what's best for the team. And I think Jamal is kind of being selfish, if I will, to keep playing such a heavy role in each game when he has consistently been underperforming.
And I read a report that he actually wants more minutes. So he wants to be in the game even more. And like you pointed out earlier, he's not known for his defensive prowess. So having him on the court and he's shooting at such low percentages, like you said, it is a detriment to the team. So he does need to step back and realize, like, okay, this is a team sport. So as an individual, what can I do to make the team better? And if that means maybe coming off the bench, maybe taking a cut in minutes, I think he should be game for that. But like another point that you led to, it might not be Coach Malone's decision. Like, he's a franchise player, so it could be upper management, to let him know, like, you got to have Jamal Murray in there, because that he's, we're selling jerseys with him. Where people are watching TV for him and Jokic. So I can see it from both sides for sure.
And I mean, really, the only question that leads into this is this a long-term problem, or do you see Jamal Murray falling out of this rhythm, kind of getting his game back, becoming the player that we've seen here in Denver the last few years? Or is this kind of the end for Jamal Murray here in Denver? Could we possibly see him moved out of here, with the fact that he's, like you said, a franchise player making, I think, $27 million in his contract? And that's franchise money. That's money that you pay for a basketball player to go out there and perform for you. And if he's simply not doing it, is that something that we see Malone and this organization move on from?
My opinion is that you can't give up on a guy so quickly, because Jamal, I mean, when were the playoffs? Like 3 months ago? Like Jamal was really putting in the work, and he was winning us games, and now he's sort of losing us games. But I don't think that, his age comes into play. He's like 25, 26 years old. I don't know exactly, but his potential is being fulfilled, and he's probably still got more to give. What it comes down to is the injury and the fact that he wants to play through the injury rather than rest and recuperate. So if he wants to keep playing through the injury, he's risking, severe damage, like permanent damage, and, underperforming, losing his, what would I call it, affluence with the fans and with the whole team in general. And, if he keeps playing, he might get traded because, he's getting paid the big dollars and he's not delivering. So what do you do with this guy who won't let himself recuperate?
I think it's more of a short-term problem. I think that with how thin the talent market is and how hard it is to get people to come to Denver and to stay in Denver, that we're going to have to be patient with Jamal Murray, because the kid is a star. And I don't think, if we got rid of him, who would we bring back? Who would we replace him with? So, I mean, we know that Jokic is the heart of the team, but the Nuggets go as Jamal Murray does. So when Jamal Murray does well, we dominate. When he struggles, we struggle, which would lead to like, all right, well, maybe we should get rid of him sooner to fix the problem. But like, there's really not much that we could replace him with. Yeah, Monte Morris is a stud, but if we started him, then now our bench is going to take a dip. So it's like, we need Jamal Murray to be the blue arrow. We need the blue arrow is what we need. We need that killer mentality, that when he got that look in his face, like no one can stop him. That's when we know, like, Jamal Murray's in pure attack mode, pure aggressive. Like, I think once the injury heals up, like, yeah, trade talks, I think it's a little extreme. There'd be no way that we wouldn't get anything worth it for him. Right. Maybe if we went and got like a Bradley Beal or something like that, which I mean, come on now, the chances of that happening are pretty low. But unless you're getting something equal or better for him, which I doubt we will, then we just have to be patient with him.
And you gotta take into account that he's been part of this team for like 3 years. So he understands the chemistry, he knows his teammates, and he fits in the system. It's just the performances that have been lacking. So, it is down to the injury, and you gotta, like, I don't know who's going to make the ultimate decision, but you got to put him on the bench or you got to let him rest, because it's a point of diminishing return. And we've already reached that point like 5-6 games ago. And it's just, it doesn't make much sense to me to keep him with.
Well, and my thought too is, early in the season, you got a player that's hurt and he's trying to battle through it, which like you guys have been saying, is probably not the best thing for this team to be doing, because later on in the season, when it comes playoff time, or when we're in the hunt for the playoffs, the way it's looking right now, we could be missing Jamal Murray way more than we'd miss him right now in these early games, And another thing is, this could be a crucial time for you to get some of those players that haven't been on this team very long, younger players that have been on this team who haven't seen a bunch of playing time, get them their minutes now. So that way, when we have a deeper roster come playoff time, that's my philosophy. And obviously, I'm not an NBA coach, or I would be, preaching that philosophy somewhere else other than these YouTube followers. But, it's just common sense to me. I think that, like you say, you got to be patient with Jamal Murray, but that does not mean that he needs to play every night by any means,
Right.
Especially with the fact that this elbow injury that he's been dealing with for 5 or 6 games now is clearly affecting his shooting motion, something that's not letting him have the abilities that we've seen him have in the future, in previous outings. He
looks uncomfortable. He just looks uncomfortable.
Exactly. And really with that, I know that we just talked about, furthering or getting rid of Jamal if it, became a long-term problem. But I know that eventually we'll see Jamal Murray bounce back, and he'll be the player that we know.
Law of averages, man. The law of averages. He ain't gonna stay that low forever. It's gonna pick up.
Well, in all honesty, he's a competitor. No competitor, you see all these players. We've seen the greatest of players have slumps in their careers, and they bounce back. That's what
Not just a
good ball
competitor.
players do.
He's a winner, man. Look at his college. Like he came from a huge program. Like he knows how to win, not just compete. So like he's got that killer mentality. I think he thinks it's a good idea that he wants to play through it, but for selfish reasons. So if he just sets that aside, I really think it would work out.
Yeah, I think it's just ego on his part, thinking that he needs to be a part of the team in the biggest role that he possibly can be to help us win when it's not working right now.
Right. And not necessary. Like our team is kind of deep. And once that chemistry starts to go, well, we lost like 6 or 7 players, got 6 or 7 players. Like that's a big turnaround right there. It wasn't like we just lost 1 or 2 players. So I think once we get those people, those experienced, the younger players, like you guys alluded to, once they start to get more reps, because Isaiah Hartenstein in the preseason, he looked like a stud.
Good.
Like, and he's starting around into form. Facundo Campazzo, he's starting around into form. But like you were saying, like the more they get those opportunities, the more they get those minutes, then it'll benefit us in the long run because now they're more experienced. Jamal gets to heal. It seems like a fix-all situation.
And now we got Michael Porter Jr. coming back into the
right. So now we're getting healthy.
It just seems like things are happening in a certain way, and so I don't know if it's Jamal Murray, I don't know if it's a coaching decision, like we talked about earlier, but someone's ignoring the fact that Jamal Murray shouldn't be playing, and whether it's Jamal or Mike Malone, we've got to fix it because at the end of the day, we're only hurting ourselves in the long run if Jamal just keeps playing with this injury.
87 is not where we should be at right now, and Santi Rico said earlier.
Thank you. Yes,
we should definitely be in like the game. Some of the games that we lost, we gave them away. Like we were finding creative ways to lose this season, and I'm not used to that.
Yeah, it was painful. Like the Jazz game, we had 23 offensive boards. 23 offensive boards. How do you lose with 23 offensive boards? You know, it's just failed conversions and missed opportunities because we're just not playing up to it.
Right, that's not very common at all.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that we can find a way to turn it around. And also, I want you to know, Santi, that I'll never be able to pronounce your name like that. I don't think.
I know.
So.
It's just something that y'all can't do. You can't roll your R's. It's interesting.
Right. You gotta roll those R's, man.
Yeah. It looks like we got this comment coming in from our very own Matt. He's part of the Rocky Mountain Sports Report team too, and he asked this question. And I want to, see what you guys think about it.
Is there a player? Oh, so I don't know if they're rumored on the trading block, but person that I think we should target to improve the Nuggets defense is Andre Drummond. So he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next season. So we could probably get him for a little cheaper than what the Cavaliers would want him for. I mean, the kid is an animal in the paint. He would be such a great addition to Jokic. He scores, he rebounds, he defends. He's basically everything we're missing in the paint, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. So I think if we might have to give up a young piece to try to get him, but he's only 27 years old. I think it'd be Andre Drummond would be the best bet to reach for right there.
Yeah.
What about you, son?
That's a good choice. No one really comes to mind. I mean, I'm of the mentality that everybody can be improved and that the more you fit into the system, the better you're going to play. So I think the defense really is just a matter of mentality. As I was saying, it's buying into the coach's defensive scheme, but it might be also the athleticism. So we might have to look for a different combo guard to help, shore up because with the game against the Nets, we didn't have anybody to defend Kevin Durant.
He took over late. He took over.
Yeah, he took over. Like we need somebody to protect the paint, like Michael's saying, and also somebody to keep, the star player outside of that 3-point line. So I couldn't say exactly who that would be, but we need a really locked down perimeter defender.
I can tell you who that could be, and that person was Jeremy Grant. That dude,
right, or
we let go one of our best defenders last year, and with his length and his athleticism, he was truly the only person on this team who could give LeBron a run for his money on the defensive side.
I wouldn't say we let him go though. We didn't let him go. We just didn't. We couldn't afford to pay him what he wanted or give him the role that he wanted. Like so, he's blossoming in his expanded role. He'd have been a fourth option here. So we didn't let him go. It was more of he wanted to be in a situation to where he could evolve as a player, which I don't blame him. I've seen a lot of Nuggets fans that were really mad about Jeremy Grant going to the Pistons, and I was proud.
And I'm one of them. I mean, I'm happy.
I was happy for him. I'm happy for him.
I'm happy
good for him, but it's bad for us, man.
Yeah,
it's not good for him.
I care about the 52-80 basketball team.
We can't afford to pay him $20 million a year just to come be a defensive role player, man. We got to be able to find a defender that we could pay less money to. We don't need to pay somebody $20 million a year for that.
Not. That's what Golden State did with Draymond Green.
But Draymond dropped triple doubles, man. Draymond is all over the stat sheet, and he has heart too. Something that you can't measure. You know, he has miles and miles of heart. So
he's an intangible kind of player,
right? He has all the intangibles. It's not really the statistics with Draymond. It's just like he's got that it factor.
He brings the energy, man.
Yeah, he's got that energy.
And I agree. I mean, I think he's got the energy, but I saw that here with Grant too. You know, obviously he wasn't quite the vocal leader that Draymond Green is, but at the end of the day, he was stepping up that defense. That was one of the best Denver Nuggets defense we've seen since Malone has entered this arena. You know,
but think about this. So think about last year's playoffs when he was missing so many threes. Like, we need a sharpshooter. The defense was good, but him missing those threes, man, was killing us. Was absolutely killing. We need a sharpshooter. That's what really we need to surround Jokic with, because he was collapsing the paint and they was leaving Jeremy Grant by himself, and he was airballing some. He's hitting backboards off some. So like I respect his prowess as a defender, but offensively he was kind of killing us. So I don't think he was worth the $20 million a year. I don't think we should have did that.
Yeah, it's cost benefits analysis, and that, you know, $20 million for him isn't right, but you know, you can't do much about it. He wants what he wants.
Right. No, absolutely. And then people were really mad about it. But I was like, well, if you can move on, that's fine. Like JaMychal Green, that was a huge addition. JaMychal Green is 50% from 3-point land, and he's a tough dude, defends. Like, I like JaMychal Green, but if we get one more player like him, that would sure up what Santi was saying, that we used to have a guy that we could just put on the best guy. We don't have that guy that's going to be like, all right, you're going to go guard him.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another question from our boy Matt. Outside of Murray, who's been the most disappointing this season? Who's been the most surprising?
Most disappointing for me personally was Bol, just because he's not getting the minutes that I like to see, and he's one of my favorite players just for his frame and his skill set. He's such an interesting talent, and he could really be a world beater, but it feels like they're just not utilizing him correctly. And he can't defend outside of the paint. He really can't defend. He's so lanky and wide. Like, they tried to put him on KD, and KD just dribbled all the way around him because he's slow.
The athleticism is
there's no lateral quickness.
He's a big guy.
But
he can't move Michael Porter or anybody into the smaller range area.
But Michael Porter's still 6'10". You know, it's just his frame. Like, he doesn't have the muscle fiber to stop and go so quickly. So
he's built like a stick figure for sure.
If he could put on some weight and actually start moving better, I think.
You should remember Kevin Durant when he came into the league. He was tiny. He was skinny, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not the biggest.
Brandon Ingram too. It's it's a matter of adapting to the environment, and I think everybody gets better after a certain amount of time, and everybody puts on weight through the season. So I'd like to see Bol some more. The most surprising in my approximation is Mr. Campazzo. I freaking love him. He is such a hustler, and he handles that ball incredibly.
He's intense, man. He brings a different level of intensity.
He's like an Argentinian bulldog, dude. He's like the Diego Maradona of basketball. It's incredible to watch him play because he will chase every ball until it's well out of bounds. It's just crazy.
And I know you guys seen him run around the court just with that goofy smile on his face.
Yeah,
he's just having the time of his life.
Yeah, dude, he's having a great time. 29-year-old rookie. He's got years.
Through the leg pass. Through the leg pass to Monte.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. So my most disappointing member of the Nuggets so far this season has to be Will Barton for me. Just seeing where he's been in his career, I seen him progress to a point, and I feel like he's kind of crescendoed already. He's already reached he's maxed out, he's plateaued, and he's so inconsistent. Sometimes he'll go drop 20 for you, And then sometimes I'm like cringing when he has the ball because I think he's either going to miss a layup, turn the ball over, or just take a ridiculous shot. He's just not the player that he used to be. Last year's injury, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt for that. And I was hoping that he came back just strong. He talked about how he wanted to be a starter. He had no intentions of coming off the bench. And then his first opportunity to start, he just really stunk it up. And he's really streaky. So when he goes hot, he's kind of hot, but when he's cold, he is ice cold. So I don't know, he's really disappointing. And then the most surprising for me is JaMychal Green. I wouldn't say I was disappointed when we signed him, but I was just like, I was waiting for a long time during that free agency period to see what we were going to do. And I was like, and all we did was sign JaMychal Green. I was like, I was frustrated, but seeing how he fits with the team, he hits his spot up jumpers, he plays defense. He's a great addition to this team. So he by far is the most surprising to me.
Right. No, and I agree. I think that he's going to be my most surprising as well. But my most disappointing, it's got to be Gary Harris. He's similar to Will Barton in a way. They both go on streaks. Either Gary Harris is really good or he's really bad. And when he suffers on one end of the court, whether it's defense or offense, he suffers on the other side too. There's no complimentary play with him. It just doesn't seem like he's putting in. I mean, I know he's in the gym every day working with the team and stuff like that. But for me, when I see him on film during games and his body language, it just doesn't seem like he's invested. And if you're not going to be invested here, then we don't need you. That's just how it goes, And this is a business at its finest. I mean, we're a team that has been on the playoff run for the last 4 years. We've been a consistent basketball team, only getting better. And Gary Harris has been a part of that. But if you're not going to grow with the team, then you don't deserve to be here. So that's really my biggest disappointment is Gary Harris. And I just hope that this Denver Nuggets team can find a way to improve. I know we've talked about it. We've sat here until we're blue we could sit here until we're blue in the face talking about what this team could do to be better. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to execution. Now, the next thing I do want to ask you guys is, I mean, I know that Santi said that he wasn't really looking for someone before the trade deadline. And I know that you said that you were looking for a big man on the inside. I believe you said Drummond.
Drummond.
But so really, my main question is to Santi. You really believe that this is a championship caliber team without making any moves? You think that we could become that team?
That's a good question. I'm in agreement with the fact that we probably do need to move someone. The issue is, who do we move and what do we get? Because I don't see a lot of capital for us to trade. The best player that we could probably trade is Gary Harris or Will Barton. And I mean, I don't know what we'd get in return. It's going to take, another piece, but like a very integral piece to put together the entire team and put it right. But with the way that we're kind of coming into form here, I mean, PJ Dozier looks great if he could get some consistency. There's a lot of parts of the team that work great individually. It's just a matter of getting them integrated with the mentality and the doctrine of this team and getting them to play inside of the system that Mike Malone has. But I mean, I really just can't think of what we can do other than trade like Jamal for somebody quote unquote better to get a championship piece. But I don't think that we are not a championship team without that piece. It comes down to execution all the time, but our execution hasn't been necessarily the best. I trust in the process, so to say, that we'll bring everything back in line eventually.
I'm just going to go out and say that this is not a championship team. I love my Nuggets, and I would love to say from a biased standpoint that, yeah, they're going to get better and that this is a championship team, but I'd be lying to myself. We need a presence in that paint. We don't have it. I think even if we went for Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin is in his final year in his contract. Probably wouldn't take much to get him. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Maybe a couple of younger players, maybe a couple picks, and we get a solid guy that's going to go get you some rebounds, put up some points, and play some defense. Like, we need something like that to win a championship, because when we go against the LA Lakers and the teams like of that nature, Anthony Davis is going to dominate like he did last year. So if we don't address that, we can go as far as we want to. We ain't going to go to the championship. We ain't gonna get past. We ain't gonna get past that Western Conference final. Not if we don't address that paint situation. Because I think our guards and our forwards, they match up decently with any team in the league. But I mean, even though Jokic is having an MVP caliber season, he's one side of the ball. He don't really play defense. I mean, he is a cookie monster. He is getting all those steals.
Yeah,
but no one's scared to go in the paint and not get their shot blocked. No, they're gonna go in there, with reckless abandon. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, with the way we've been playing on the interior, there's no reason to fear this Denver Nuggets team.
At all.
I mean, I've seen it times where they get 4 or 5 steps into the lane and nobody's even touched them, put a body on them, nothing. So for us, I think a big thing is veteran presence. Obviously, we got Paul Millsap, but he's on the back end of his career. He's on his way out, probably.
Right.
We probably won't see him in the next 2 to 3 years, I would suspect.
He would have been gone this year if he didn't take that pay cut.
Right. Exactly. And then, the next veteran leader that we have is Nikola Jokic. And I'm not going to hate on the guy. Obviously, he's the best player on our team. That's a given. But the dude can barely speak English, and he's not a vocal leader. He's not. He's shown time and time again that he does not want to step into that role. And I think that's what we're missing. We need a player that's in there who's, he doesn't even necessarily have to be a starter. Like he mentioned Blake Griffin. If we were to bring someone in like Blake Griffin, and he were to be the voice for that team, I would be fine with that, because at least at that point, we have some veteran leadership that can – I think that's the biggest thing that this team is missing. We're a young team, and when we start playing bad, we get into that groove, because that's what young teams do. They don't know how to break that funk. So really, I mean, the main thing that we need, I think, in my opinion, is a veteran leader. And that's how it's got to be. So – looks like we got another question from Matt, and it's just plain and simple thoughts on Paul Millsap. So,
overpaid.
Wow, one word, and you already heard us say it.
I like Paul Millsap, man.
No hate. He's a great player.
On Anthony Davis last when he was in the game on Anthony Davis percentage dropped to like 20% or something like that, very low. So he does decent, but he can't be in the game forever, because he just doesn't do enough. Yeah. So he's a valuable piece, especially for that veteran aspect, like you're talking about. Like he's been in the playoffs. He's been in the playoffs before. He's been in the league for a long time. So he's a great veteran presence. But he tries to get calls he's not going to get. Like he always does that same move where he goes to the basket, falls down, and doesn't get the call. Now we're on a 4-on-5 at the other end. Right. It's like he fits the mold with the Nuggets, man. We were just an inconsistent team.
Yeah, I just think the value that he brings to the team is not worth the monetary value that we could get with an actual, not necessarily a younger player, but a more involved player, because Paul, he does defense, he shoots threes, he gets inside the paint. He does all that thing, but he doesn't do any one thing exceptionally well. And we need a specialist with a mentality.
And he's a starter. So you kind of want your starters to be able to do everything well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, exactly. And that's what a starter should be. It should be your best rounded out players on the floor, start the game, play the most minutes, and, contribute the most for your team. The thing is, I think that at certain positions like the 2, the 4, even sometimes, Nikola Jokic on the defensive side of the ball, those spots there's a big question mark over a lot of those positions, just because, like I said, there's a big turnover that we had this offseason. We got a lot of brand new people coming in here who haven't ever worked with Malone, who don't even know anything about his philosophy, and they're expected to pick it up in 1 year, which I get it. They're professional athletes. That's what they got to do. That's their job. But you can't expect the greatest results with a team that just gave away nearly half their roster. So, looks like David's coming in with another question. When will MPJ be back? And I asked this before we even got on the air. And
he played last night.
Yeah, he's back. He did all right.
How many minutes did he get?
20, I believe. He's on a minute restriction right now.
Okay. And
And that's huge for the team. That's huge.
Yeah. I think Michael
Well,
Porter Jr. is like a very important facet of the game because he scores from outside. He drives into the lane. He's just a liability on rebound, definitely. He's just a liability on the defensive end. So he needs to develop a little more, but I think he can.
And I will say that I have seen his improvements on the defensive side of the ball from last year to this. There's obviously some things that he's worked on, and he's, become a better player. I think. I just don't think he's quite there yet.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's going to take a little more work with him, but what you pointed out, I definitely seen some improvements in his technique. You could tell that he isn't just focusing on his scoring technique, and I think that's what his problem was before. He must think that, if you could score, then I'll just get minutes. But that's true to a certain extent. But if you can't defend, you won't keep minutes. So I think he's just narrowing in on the defensive technique more. I think that's what he spent more of his offseason on, because he's still got that pure jumper. That stroke is still there. He ain't going to lose anything on offense. So I think he's mentioned how he really wanted to hone in on the defensive side of the ball, and it's showing. But you could tell it wasn't part of his game, so it's not gonna click like that. So the more he's in this
college,
league,
you can kind of get away with
absolutely
not being a defender.
He was athletic enough to make up for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we got another question coming from Matt. Over the next 4 games, we have the Suns, Mavs, Heat, and Spurs. How many wins do the Nuggets come out with?
3.
And 3?
3.
Wow.
Where do you think the loss comes?
The loss comes at the Mavs. I'm
going to disagree. I think the loss comes tonight against the Suns.
I'd agree with that, because I'm not sure if we're going to be the same team we were last year. We were killing it on back-to-backs last year. We were almost undefeated for a long time on back-to-backs, but this season just seems different. Like we're not that same team. That
ye of little faith.
And our highest winning streak this year.
We can win this game tonight.
It's 3 games is our highest winning streak. So
tonight will tell us a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
I think if we win tonight, it's going to really be a catalyst for a big momentum push in the rest of the season. But it'll
tell the team's mental toughness as a whole. We'll be able to tell tonight how mentally tough we are as a whole team tonight, because this back-to-back against a good Arizona
it's the
team.
Same team too, so it's like almost playoffs mentality. You're ready for their scheme, they're ready for you. So you got to, find the lines in between and figure out how to win when they know how you're going to try to win.
And the Suns are nothing to sneeze at, because last year we swept them. But if y'all remember the games, those were close games.
Suns are mean.
They were competitors last year. They made that one move to get Chris Paul that they needed to make their team better. And you see what it did. It pushed them to the veteran leader that took them straight to the top. Like they're number 4 seed right now. Like that's crazy to have one person come in and be able to build chemistry, because that's what we're talking about, our turnover and not being able to build chemistry.
It's Chris Paul, man.
It's Chris Paul. That's the true effective veteran leadership, because they were good. They had a lot of young pieces in place and they were competitors, but now they got a baller in Chris Paul, and like tonight's not going to be an easy game. But if we win, that just goes to show you that we are turning the tide and heading and steering in the right direction.
They're rounding the corner.
We're rounding the corner.
I like it. All right.
So we are going to win tonight.
So we got another question from an unknown Facebook user. Unfortunately, I couldn't see their name. It says, thoughts on the lack of 3-point defense up to this point of the season?
I mean, we've been over it. I'm very disappointed. And
extremely.
You can read it on Michael's face too. We're all disappointed.
Yeah.
It's
a little sadness went into our eyes whenever this question popped up on the screen.
It's like I think at one point we were playing Utah, they were shooting at 80% from 3-point. 80%. So
and you can't win NBA games like that. You cannot expect to win a game like that. There's no way in hell that you're going to win an NBA basketball game with someone shooting 80% from 3-point range.
What I hate is like how they watch them shoot. Like they won't even run out to try to make, like, even if it's not going to have an effect on the shot, run out there at least. Don't just stand there and watch them shoot. Like we do that too much, way too much. And like run them off the 3-point line.
Well, and if you look at any of these other championship caliber teams, let's go straight to the Lakers. You don't see LeBron looking at people taking wide open jump shots. You don't see AD not running down and playing defense. You just have to look at the difference between I hate to say it, I really do, because I'm not a Lakers fan. You know, I'm not. I love the Denver Nuggets. I want them to be the best team in the NBA. But there are clear differences when you look at the Lakers organization, obviously, and the Denver Nuggets organization. Just in last year's span, we saw them, you know, mold a team with AD and LeBron, you know, and become world champions, you know. And we have two of the best, you know, before the season started, the duo Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic was rated number 2 in the NBA by ESPN. And we're looking at it, and if they're number 2, then who's number 1? We all know it's LeBron and AD, you know. So for obviously they have great talent, they got great coaching, they got a great roster. But at the end of the day, there's clear differences what they're doing and what we're not doing. And I think one of them is being consistent on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they rotate, they contest shots, they play fundamental defense, and I feel like we don't rotate on time, like Santi was saying earlier, or we just don't rotate at all sometimes. Like I see so many uncontested threes, and we don't hit our uncontested threes that much, and other teams hit them like at such a high rate. It's like you're not going to.
That's another point is, you know, beyond just the 3-point defense, our 3-point offense is absolutely garbage this season.
Yeah, we need shooters. We need like JaMychal Green has been a pleasant surprise, but Jamal Murray is down in percentage. Gary Harris is down in percentage. Will Barton's down in percentage. Like, who's going to make the three? Who? I mean, Michael Porter Jr. and JaMychal Green are the only 2 people I don't cringe in fear. Maybe Nikola Jokic. And
yeah,
Jokic scares me lately, man. His 3-point shot has been like way too high. You know,
but it's still in the 30%, you know, like he's still not.
He's above 30. Yeah. I'll say, you know, that's not bad, but he was
not
like
great either.
Yeah. He was like a 45% shooter at the start of the season, and it's dropping off.
And then we got this comment coming in from my old man, David. When do we start to worry about inconsistency? This team is supposed to be a challenger for the Western Conference Championship. And I will agree, we're supposed to be. That's where we're supposed to be sitting at this juncture in time. So.
Yeah, we worry about it right now. You have to worry about it because the early season fluff ups are going to bite you in the ass later. So you have to start shoring it up. And I don't know, what Mike Malone's doing to do that, but like we all have to get back on the same page. And you know, you would see like there's big differences between quarters in the look of the Nuggets. So you'll see like. My most recent example was the first quarter against the Thunder. We didn't really do that well, and we looked kind of bad. But after the first quarter, second quarter, they were just throwing the ball left and right, like to each other, passing, finding every open shot they could. So it's like it's getting it in the mentality that you have to work for the open shot and not just force your shot, and also to close out on the open threes and to, you know, go get those rebounds. It's consistency wins everything, you know. And Michael was talking about the law of averages. Well, we got to, you know, get back to consistency. The higher you can get that average, you know, the better you're going to do. So when we're doing bad, you got to do good the next time out, or you're going to keep doing bad.
Right.
It's hard to watch a team that, you know, can score anytime they go down the court and can defend if they really wanted to, but just don't put forth the effort as much as they could.
Right. They do great spans. They put stops together, but it's like the consistency thing. You do that through the whole game, we'll be blowing teams out by like 20, 30 points.
Yeah, and we force turnovers like crazy. Like just about every team that we've faced in the past week has been like 15 plus turnovers. And, you know, we didn't win all those games, but if you're forcing that many turnovers, and especially the game at the Jazz with the offensive rebounds, like you have to make those plays and you have to finish those chances because it all bites you in the end.
And normally when you win those categories, you win those games. So that, like, to hear those stats in a loss is just like, how does that even happen?
What happened? And it's in the defense.
How do you rebound somebody that much and still lose the game is it's mind blowing. Because I'll watch though, like on the offensive rebound possession, they had like 5 straight offensive rebounds, not the Suns game, but the game before that, and came away with no points. I don't know how you can get that many rebounds and have that many empty possessions. It's like, no, that's the inconsistencies. We need to address it now.
They keep tossing it out to the 3-point line. We keep missing.
So is it fair to say that inconsistency is the biggest problem of this Denver Nuggets team?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I know you guys have said it here and there, but I mean, so what's it going to take for this inconsistency to kind of break its pattern, you know?
Well, I think MPJ being back into the lineup and like having a steady rotation, so it's not a question of who's going to start tonight, who's going to be available. We're going to know exactly who's the starting unit, who's the second unit, and everybody just needs to stick with the flow and stay with their reads and be better on ball defense. Like our guards are getting blown by, like everything. Like they could be better. We could definitely be better. I've seen it, but only in stints, flashes in the pan. Like they'll put together 3-4 defensive stops. Like that's not enough. You know, you need to put a quarter together, put a half together, put a game together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's got it on the head. Inconsistency.
Yeah, he took the words out of your mouth, huh?
Yeah, inconsistency is always the issue, man. You can be good one game, but it doesn't matter if you were good that one game if you lose the other 81. You know, you got to bring that forth and learn from every game as much as you can. And it feels like we make the same mistakes just about every game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I agree.
So David comes in with another one. Do we see a mid-season trade? Would you keep Barton over Harris? That's a good question. I like that one.
Surprisingly, I think I would keep Barton over Harris right now because he's actually starting to play a little better. And Gary Harris is just not doing it for me. His 3-point percentage shooting is plummeted. It's one of the lowest in the league. He's not finishing at the basket. He had a couple finishes in last night's game, but he also missed 2 layups that I was like, Gary Harris 3 years ago, making that. It's definitely making it. And as much as I've advocated for him, even this offseason, I was like, we just need to see what Gary Harris has got. And maybe that injury messed with him, you know. But nah, from what I've seen, I wouldn't be sad if we got rid of Gary, and I would have slapped myself 3 years ago if I said that.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about you, Santi?
Yeah, it might behoove us to get that midseason trade. As I said earlier, it's just a matter of trade capital. I don't know what we could get. And I would keep Barton over Harris because he's right. Harris is being really bad from the 3-point range. And in my approximation, Barton has won us more games than Harris has won us. So I think he's the better option. But the question is, what do we get for Harris? You know, it depends on his performance mostly, and he hasn't been performing. So it's
our trade pieces. We'd have to put someone that's performing better in the trade pieces because, like, who's going to want Harris if he's underperforming? If we don't want him, who else is going to want him? Exactly. Like, very little trade value, but so I'd be fine with moving like a younger piece. Like,
so obviously we have. Let me paint a crazy scenario for you. So, you know, I've been thinking about this basically the whole time we've been talking about it. So what if we were to put Gary Harris along with someone along the lines of, I'm just going to throw it out there. Don't shoot the messenger until I finish. But how about, MPJ, dude has the most asset on the team. He is the most. Oh, he just got left. So I know it's crazy, but we could get some big time players here to Denver if we were to give up someone.
He's our most valuable trading piece, I'd say. You know, outside of Jokic and Murray, we'd probably get something that we'd want for him. You know, but
that's the type of player that you get a Bradley Beal for, like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, or you know, even someone like I think it was Drummond that you had mentioned earlier. Even that kind of player comes with quite a price tag. So
I think about it. I really would. MPJ for Drummond. I think about it. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
obviously we'd probably have to give up Gary Harris and MPJ.
Yeah,
so
I'd totally be fine with that.
The biggest issues that we've pointed out is the inside and outside defense as well as 3 points. So when we give up MPJ, we're giving up a really solid 3-point shooter.
Pure shooter.
A pure shooter, definitely. Someone who goes and gets rebounds, who can really like kick it into another gear when he wants to. And it comes down to mentality. I'm of the mentality that, you know, you stick by the young players because if you invest enough into them, they can really pay off. But it's a matter of weighing, you know, do we want to go and, you know, challenge for a championship this season and possibly risk our future success by giving away MPJ? Or do we want to, you know, stick to the process a little longer and hope that Jamal and MPJ and Jokic can make something better happen later on in the season or next season? And, my personal mentality is to stick with the youngins and to not, trade in 2 in the hand for 1 in the bush, So,
right. And I'm right there with you. I think we have a formula here. I think we have a winning formula. And like you said, young team, take a little bit of development, a good turnaround this offseason. And if we can keep building on around this young center of, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, then I think ultimately we'll be fine. I agree with David and you guys. Obviously, I don't really think MPJ is the kind of guy you want to move. He's young. He's got superstar ability. He's a pure shooter, like you said, which this Denver team desperately needs. It's like you said, would you rather risk would you risk everything for 1 championship, or do you want to, become like a dynasty and, build 3 or 4 championship teams? So, and I think MPJ is your best shot at doing the dynasty road, we've
got a big 3. We've got a big 3. We've got Jamal, MPJ, and Jokic. It's a matter of Jamal getting healthy, MPJ really like filling out his potential, and Jokic just playing how Jokic plays. But, we still need role players to fill out the areas. So the post defense and the outside defense. I mean, Jamal is decent at outside defense, but we need a lockdown post and somebody who can keep somebody outside. And that's the piece. I mean, it all falls together really easily if everything works right, but things just aren't clicking correctly. And we have injuries and we have underperforming shooters, all these things. So I think, keeping MPJ is the best option for us to really like go forth and get maybe a couple of championships or a few.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then this is going to be our last question because we're getting towards the hour mark and it's come towards the end of the show. But David comes in with, if we underperform this year, is Malone on the hot seat? And I want to hear what you guys think about that.
I don't think so, only because we just signed him to an extension. The high turnover on the team, it'd be fair to give him at least 2 years with this team. And then it's the idea of what other option is there. So if we got rid of Malone, who are we going to replace him with? Because when we got rid of George Karl, I was happy, but then we went through a carousel of coaches before I was like, all right, I'm okay with this. And you don't just stumble across a Western Conference win. So as a coach, as a head coach in this league who went to the Western Conference final and got a win, or, that you got to give him a little more rope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Last season, he had an excellent season. I think it really, depends on this season, because if we end up not like getting past the first round of the playoffs, or God forbid, not even making the playoffs, I mean, the onus is on Malone because he got us to the champion or the conference championship last season, and to underperform this season. I mean, I'm expecting at least to make that if he's going to stay, because it feels like just about every year it's this question, is Malone.
So would you get rid of Malone if he didn't make it to, like, say we missed the playoffs this year? Is Malone?
If we miss playoffs, Malone's cut in my approximation.
I don't think it's a death sentence. Look at the West, man.
I think we have to make playoffs.
If we miss the playoffs in the East, okay, fine, I agree. But in the Western Conference, man, they're stacked. Utah's playing great ball. The Suns are playing great ball. And those are the teams that, were at the bottom of the pile last year. So when you got teams that are at the bottom of the crop that are ascending up, it's like, it's so competitive. I don't think it's a death sentence if we miss the playoffs. The Western Conference is loaded with talent, loaded with great teams. I don't think it would be necessarily a death sentence. I'd be pissed off. Absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy about it, but
I think he'd be on the hot seat. I really think he'd be. I mean, going into the next season after we miss the playoffs, obviously his job's in question. Because if he does that again, then obviously you're not going to keep two losing season around. So I get it. Just a very interesting thing that a story that could play out a little later on in this season. Obviously, I don't think Malone's going anywhere. I think he's kind of, without him, we wouldn't be where we're at. So that's a big plus on his side of the ball. Obviously he's got that in his favor. So he's got a little comfort. Looks like we got a couple more questions coming in. Looks like Matt came in with how often can we expect to see you guys live stream? For me, I'm open. I can make it work whenever. I'm trying to get this going at least once a week. If we could do a midweek that'd be great too. But obviously, we have 3 schedules we have to work with. So once we iron that out, we'll definitely set a for sure schedule.
Yeah, I'd be down for
So,
once a week at least.
I'm here as many times as the fans want us.
Yeah.
I like it, the fan mentality. And then David comes in on the last comment that we're going to take for today, and he says, "Outstanding show, gentlemen. Loved it." So we're already getting praise, guys. First show in. Like I said earlier in the show, it's great to be here with you guys. I've had this vision in my head of how this was going to go, and it did not fall short. I promise you. You guys have been great. I appreciate the time that you've given me on this Sunday, and I'm sure the fans even enjoy it a little bit more than I do. And as Michael's got it going on over there, I'm gonna sign myself off, and I'm gonna say so long from Rocky Mountain Sports Report, and I'll let Michael and Santi do their own exits.
This is Santi Rico, and it's been my pleasure to do this podcast with y'all this morning. Can't wait to do it again next time.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, have a great day. We'll be in touch, and can't wait to do this with you gentlemen again. All right.
Until next time, Nuggeteers.
Peace out.